Hello, cyberspace astronauts. Are you ready to be entertained with pointless jibber-jabber and senseless small talk? If so, then you have come to the right place. It's the Todd Cook Show, starring Todd Cook, featuring Todd Cook, with special guest Todd Cook. Now broadcasting from his garage, here he is, Todd Cook.
Brr. I said brr. Hello, everybody. I am Todd Cook, and I'm coming to you live from my garage in Wichita, Kansas, and it is cold out here today, folks. It's been cold here for quite some time now, but today it's extra cold, and I have a space heater here that you might be able to hear. Let me see if I can put the microphone down and see if you can hear the space heater. That's all I have to keep me warm out here. That space heater and you, my loyal listeners who are listening to me right now. Both of you. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen today, folks. And I got a good show for you planned. I'm going to tell you a story or two about working at a grocery store. I've got quite a bit of experience working at a grocery store. I worked at a store up in Indiana for 5 years. And then when I moved here to Wichita, I have worked at several different grocery stores here. And you meet and you see a lot of interesting people, let's say, at the grocery store. And I'm going to tell you a couple stories about that in just a few minutes. And I'm also going to tell you about how my wife and I discovered recently, or at least found out recently, have been assured that our financial future is quite sound. Actually, we are confident now that when we retire, we're going to be living the good life. And I can't wait for that. And I'm going to tell you that story after a bit as well. And then I also have some songs, or a song by Robin Roberts and Billy Preston coming up later in this program as well. You don't want to miss that. It's a really good duo that plays here in Wichita quite frequently. And so you don't want to miss that. Hang around, and that'll come up in a little while. But I'm going to start right now by telling you about this little product that I bought for Christmas, actually for my wife, and I've been using it as much as she has, maybe even more. It's kind of like a little commercial I'm going to give you here, but it's actually a really good product. It's a mini speaker, wireless. It works off of Bluetooth speaker that you can use for your phone, your cell phone, or your laptop. So if you're listening to something on your cell phone, and, you know, those speakers on those are not very good. They're just not very good at all. And so you need something with a little more volume to it. And I bought this little speaker. It's about the size, a little smaller, actually, than a tennis ball. And it's wireless. It's rechargeable, no batteries, nothing like that. And it's worked out great. And here's how I've been using it. I listen to a lot of different podcasts and other things online, just things that's not visual, you just listen to. And music as well, of course. And a lot of times I'll have my laptop in the kitchen while I'm doing dishes. And my laptop, it's not the best laptop in the world, but the volume of the speakers, it just doesn't get that loud. And it's okay if you're sitting close by to it, but if you walk away from it a little bit, or especially if the water is running, if I'm in the kitchen doing dishes at the sink, when that water's on, I have trouble hearing what is playing on my laptop. And, of course, this would also be true with my cell phone as well. If I played something, over the Wi-Fi or 4G, network, it would be very difficult to hear it through the cell phone. Now, with the cell phone, of course, you could put it in your pocket and use headphones, and that solves that problem. But we don't always want to be walking around our house, with headphones in. And so I bought this little speaker, and it works great. And I can put it on the counter, and it is much louder than my laptop speakers are. And like I said, this is not the best laptop, but I imagine it'd be better than most laptops out there. There might be some laptops that are comparable, but definitely better than any volume that you get from your phone. And like you said, it's completely wireless, and it's smaller than a tennis ball. And so I can be in the kitchen doing dishes, listening to something. And before, when I have to leave the room to do something, I have to pause it. And then when I come back, hit play again. But now I can just take that little speaker in my hand and take it with me And, if I go to the bathroom, I sit on the back of the toilet and take care of business and don't miss whatever it is I'm listening to. It's a great little product. You need to look it up. There's several different companies that make this product, but the one I got is AYI mini wireless Bluetooth speaker. Anything that has a Bluetooth hookup with it, the speaker will work. And it's been a great little product. Like I said, I bought it for my wife, but I think I have been using it a little bit more than she has, but she's gotten a lot of good use out of it too, because we used to have these speakers, and to be able to hear something with enough volume, we'd have to take the speakers and the wires and everything with us and the computer, and carry it around the different parts of the house. Or when it's nice outside, which it definitely is not today, but when it's nice outside, be able to go outside to the patio or something, and it was the same thing. Bring the speakers, the cord, they got to plug into the wall and plug into the computer. And it was just a big hassle. And now all we got to do is take this little tennis ball size thing, and it works great. Now, if you're wanting to have a big party with dance music and stuff like that playing loud where everybody can hear it, this probably is not going to work for you. However, on Christmas, I did have it out on the counter, and we were playing Christmas music, streaming online from the internet, and I was able to hear it throughout the whole house, or at least from the kitchen through the living area where everybody was. So, great little product, AYI mini Bluetooth speaker. Look it up, buy one. Nice product. All right, like I said, I spent a lot of times working at grocery stores. I'm going to tell you a couple stories about that. There are a lot of strange people out there, and it seems like most of the strange people like to spend a lot of time at the grocery store, because that is where I would see them more than any place else, was at the grocery store. And there were times that I'd work there. When I first started, I worked down in here in Kansas anyway. I worked down at a store down in Winfield, and the store would close at midnight and then reopen at 6 o'clock. And there was a guy, no exaggeration, from what I can remember, would be there every morning at 6 a.m. waiting for the doors to open. And he'd come inside, he'd walk over and start talking to the ladies at the bakery for like 15 or 20 minutes. Then he'd circle around and go over to the meat department and talk to some of the guys behind the counter at the meat department. And then all around over to the dairy. Any employee he could find, he'd stop and chat him up for a while, like he's known them all of his life. And he spent an hour in the store like this, just walking around, taking up space, basically, and getting in people's way, talking to people, and then he would leave, and a lot of times he'd leave. I don't think he'd even buy anything. So he'd go out there in the parking lot at 6 a.m. to start his little social hour, I guess. He couldn't wait until, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at a decent hour. As soon as that door was open, he was in there, and he'd go around from one employee to the next, and we'd start hiding from him. We'd see him in there, and we're like, I'd go off to the back room because I know he'd strike up a conversation with me, and I'd be trying to get work done and be 15 minutes talking to this guy. So, and there's a lot of that going on, and I'm here to tell you that one of the main problems that stores are too crowded nowadays is because of people like this, people that go into the store with no reason whatsoever, apparently because they walk around for a long time and buy nothing. We need to find a way to weed these people out. The stores would not be nearly as crowded. There was a lot. Now, at Walmart, I can understand if you're going there and you're trying to find maybe a gift for somebody, and you're having trouble finding it, so you walk around a lot, and you might not get as much into your cart as you thought you would have. But at grocery store, you think that'd be different. You don't go to grocery store and just kind of wondering what you want necessarily. You want food, and the whole place is full of food. But there was a lot of people that would wander around, and there was one guy in particular that would do this frequently. And one day I kept my eye on him because I thought, well, maybe it's just my imagination. Maybe it seems like he's been here for, a long time, and really it's only been, 20 minutes. So one day I saw him when he came in. I looked at the clock, and as I'm going about my work, I kept seeing him on occasion. He's still here. He's still there. Grocery cart, going from one department to the next. This is not a guy that was talking to people. He was just wandering around with a grocery cart. And I kid you not, it was an hour and a half later when he got to the checkout lane, and all he had in his cart were 3 things. He had bacon, he had mayonnaise, and he had toilet paper. And I was thinking to myself, an hour and a half, and that's the best you can do? Bacon, mayonnaise, and toilet paper? I didn't know what else to think. All I could think was, okay, if you're going to eat bacon and mayonnaise, you're going to need that toilet paper. It's Todd Cook Show. I'll be right back in just a moment.
The Todd Cook Show will be right back. The Todd Cook Show will be right back.
Whoops, wrong button. Let me try this one.
Hi folks, it's me, Todd Cook, and boy do I have a deal for you. Do you have a business or a website, or maybe just an event that you want to promote, but you don't have the money to invest? Well, why not try to accomplish that right here on the Todd Cook Show? Free of charge. That's right, you can run an ad right here on this podcast free of charge. However, once the Todd Cook Show starts to pick up more and more listeners, the free offer will expire. So take advantage now. All you have to do is send your recorded commercial, which is 30 seconds or less, to me at this email address, thetoddcookshow@gmail.com. That's thetoddcookshow@gmail.com, and I will play it as time allows. So send me that commercial now and help the Todd Cook Show, and the Todd Cook Show will help you.
You're listening to the Todd Cook Show.
All right, I am back. I'm sorry if that commercial was a little loud there. I noticed that the volume levels were peaking out, so I turned it down a little bit. And I pushed a wrong button again. I have not done that since the very first show. This is the 4th episode, and I've done really well in the last 2 episodes. The first episode, I pushed at least one button wrong, and that was it. Then the second episode, I did fine. The third episode, I did fine. And then here on the 4th episode, I finally pushed the wrong button once again. Hopefully someday I'll be better at that. And again, if that commercial was loud, sorry. I got a lot of other things coming up. I want to tell you another story about the working at a grocery store. One particular story that I think is kind of funny and strange. And I got a song coming up from Robin Roberts and Billy Preston as well. You don't want to miss that. And the story, of course, about my wife and our bright, bright, bright financial future. I can't wait. Right now, we're living paycheck to paycheck, but there's going to be a day that we're going to be setting pretty. And I'm going to tell you about that in a little bit. So now I'm going to tell you about, and also one other thing I want to make sure I remind everybody. I've said this, I think, on every episode thus far. If you want to submit some music to the Todd Cook Show for me to play, please do so. You can send it to the Todd Cook Show at gmail.com and send it as an MP3 in an MP3 format, and I'll give it a listen, and I might play it on this show. And if you got something on iTunes as well, let me know, and I will buy it first. I have no problem buying it first, and then I will play your song on this show, and that's what I'm going to do with Robin Roberts and Billy Preston in just a few moments. And also, if you have an instrumental that you might like to use for the introduction of this show, the music I got right now is just generic music that I got off a website. But if you'd like to submit something to me, I would consider using that as well. Or if you just want to send me an email and let me know that you're listening, I'd be thrilled to hear from you. So the Todd Cook Show at gmail.com is the best way to do that. You can get this show on YouTube. You can get this show on iTunes. And you get this show on Podomatic.com, Podomatic, and I got a feeling that the very first sneeze of the Todd Cook Show is coming up, but I'm trying to repress it right now. All right, I think I did it. No sneeze. So we're going to have to wait. Maybe the next episode I'll have a sneeze. I thought for sure I was going to get one right there. Anyway, working at the grocery store, like I said, you run across a lot of strange people, odd people, and sometimes just weird circumstances. And this one particular day, I was in the middle of the aisle stocking something. I can't remember. I think it was some kind of a soup, maybe. And I got the case of soup there, and I'm knelt down, and I see out of the corner of my eye a lady coming down the aisle, shopping with her shopping cart, and she kind of stops there. And I never really look at her. I just see out of the corner of my eye that she stops, and there's nobody else in the aisle. So I think, oh, well, I must be in her way a little bit. So I made some adjustments, lifted up the case, got a little closer to the shelf, got myself a little closer to the shelf, and then went back to stocking shelves. And I look, and she's still there. She's not moving. And I turn my head a little bit, and, I don't want to make eye contact with her. Maybe she has a question. I don't want to have to answer a question. I mean, after all, I'm your average employee at a grocery store. I'm not going to, answer any questions or help you find anything. No, I would have been glad to help her, but I just see her out of the corner of my eye. She's still standing there. And I was like, well, maybe I'm still kind of in her way. So, I'm kind of a tall guy, and I got long legs. And so I kind of turned my body a little bit more and scoot the case that I was working on a little bit more, and now there's plenty of room. There's room for 2 carts to go by me. No problem whatsoever. I go back to stocking shelves, putting the cans on the shelf. I look in the corner of my eye. She's still there. And I can't figure out what the problem is. And she's not looking at product. I can tell where she's trying to navigate through the aisle. And so I look down the other way. I think maybe there's something else in the way. Or maybe there's a case of something behind me that I didn't see that's in her way. And so I turn around. There's nothing. There's, like I said, plenty of room there. Two kind of an elderly lady, but there's plenty of room there. She could have easily two carts could have went through, but she would seem to be having trouble navigating. So I scooch over a little bit more and make my body in this awkward position a little bit, kind of sideways, parallel to the shelf, and I got the cans, that I'm stocking, and I push them even farther over, and I'm like kind of squeezing up against the shelf. And now there's room. You could drive 2 grocery carts down there in a 1979 Buick. I mean, there's plenty of room. I go back to stocking shelves, putting the cans up there. Look out the corner of my eye. She's still there. So now I'm really trying to squeeze over because I kind of look at her now, and I can see in her eyes where she's kind of eyeballing like she can't get through. And I can't figure out what is going on. And so now I'm like squeezing way over, like almost with my chest against the shelf, making sure my feet are out of the way, make sure there's no boxes in the way. And now there's enough room for 2 grocery carts, a 1979 Buick, and a herd of camel could go through there. Is camel is the plural of camels? I think so. A herd of camels could go through there. And she's still just standing there looking like she can't get through. And I go back to stocking shelves. I can't figure out what she wants. She's not saying anything. I go back to stocking shelves. I finally get done. I stand up and put my back against the shelf, and then I finally make eye contact with her, and I say, "Excuse me." And she said, "Oh, that's fine. I was just going to wait." So apparently she thought I was in her way that entire time. Literally not another car. This was fairly late at night or maybe early in the morning. I just know it was a time where there wasn't that many people in the store whatsoever. Plenty of room. So she's looking down this aisle, and like I said, there was plenty of room for her to go down there. And she could not navigate her way through there. Maybe her cart was broken, and she was afraid it was going to turn the wrong way or something. But I remember thinking, okay, she can't drive a grocery cart down an aisle at the grocery store. How in the world does she drive her car through the parking lot without hitting other cars? But I've got a lot of other stories about grocery stores. I'll save those for some other time. And that's not even some of my best ones. You'd be amazed at some of the things I've witnessed at the grocery store and all the times I've worked there. And now I believe it is time to play that song which I told you about. This song is by Billy Preston, or Robin Roberts and Billy Preston. You can look them up online. Their website is rr-bp.com. Robin Roberts BillyPreston.com. So just the initials rr-bp.com. And this song I'm going to play for you is called Where the Bluegrass Grows. And this is a song, if you're familiar with if you live in this area, you might be familiar with a little music festival that occurs in September every year down on Winfield. And that's what this song makes a reference to, is that music festival. And if you're somebody who's never been to that festival or doesn't have a love for it like I do, you might not appreciate this that much. At least that's what I was telling my wife. that you might not appreciate the song as much, but after I've listened to it, I think anybody can enjoy the song. It's a nice tune. Really, it kind of sends chills up my back. But it's one of those songs where I'm such a big fan of that festival, and that's become such an important part of my life to go to that festival. But I'm one of those guys where I have literally went to that festival and on numerous occasions picked up my guitar before the sun went down and never took it off until the sun came up. So it's a pretty special, powerful experience down there in Winfield. And this is that song. It's called Where the Bluegrass Grows by Robin Roberts and Billy Preston here on the Todd Cook Show. I hope you enjoy it.
I told the boss man so he'd know, hey, I'm going to Winfield. I'm gonna camp down by the river in the pecan grove. I'm gonna jam all night with the ghost of Split Lip Array Field. Spend my days in the haze by a stage where the bluegrass grows. I'll spend my days in the shade by a stage where the bluegrass grows. Boss man laughed and said, you must be crazy if you think that I would ever let you go. That bluegrass talk is crap. You're just lazy. Then he laughed and spit tobacco on the floor. He laughed and spit tobacco on the floor. I said, mister, are you listening? Did you hear me say I'm going to Winfield? I'm gonna camp down by the river in the pecan grove. I'm gonna jam all night with the ghost of Split Lip Array Field. Spend my days in the haze by a stage where the bluegrass grows. I'll spend my days in the shade by a stage where the bluegrass grows. The boss man laughed and said, you must be crazy if you think you'll have a job when you get back. And if there's three things that I hate, it's dumb and lazy. Then he smiled and said, what do you think of that? He smiled and said, what do you think of that? I said, mister, are you listening? Did you hear me say I'm going to Winfield? Gonna camp down by the river in the pecan grove. I'm gonna jam all night with the ghost of Split Lip Array Field. Spend my days in the haze by a stage where the bluegrass grows. I'll spend my days in the shade by a stage where the bluegrass grows. told the boss man so he'd know, hey, I'm going to Winfield. I'm gonna camp down by the river in the pecan grove. I'm gonna jam all night with the ghost, a split lip array feel. Spend my days in the haze by a stage where the bluegrass grows. I'll spend my days in the shade by a stage where the bluegrass grows. I'll spend my days in the haze by a stage where the bluegrass grows.
And there you have it. Robin Roberts, Billy Preston with Where the Bluegrass Grows on the Todd Cook Show. Once again, go to their website, www.rr-bp.com. And you can also check them out on iTunes as well. That's where I got that song from. Look them up. Robin Roberts and Billy Preston, they got an entire album up there, and that is, once again, Where the Bluegrass Grows. Love that song. Great vocals on that, too. Nice attitude there, Robin. Love it. Okay, I told you earlier that I want to tell you about how my wife and I have secured a wonderful financial future, and here's how. And like I said, right now we are living day to day, paycheck to paycheck. But when it comes time to retire, we're going to be sitting pretty. And here's how I know that. I got a 6-year-old son, and he announced the other day that when he grows up, he is going to be a Bigfoot hunter. That's right, a Bigfoot hunter. Very lucrative career. I'm sure there's a lot of money in that. And I was doing the math there, and by the time he is old enough that he can go to graduate high school and then go to Bigfoot hunting university, wherever that might be, my wife and I will be right at the retirement age. And so once he starts making the big bucks hunting Bigfoots, we'll be ready, and he's gonna set us up nice. I mean, we've been great parents. Believe me, we've taken care of him so well that I don't think he'll have a choice. But when it comes time for him to pay us back, he will. And so we're gonna be just rolling in the money with my son, the Bigfoot hunter. And thank you, by the way, Discovery Channel or TLC or the Animal Planet Channel, whatever channel it is that show is on. Thank you for letting my son think that hunting Bigfoots is a real job. Okay, that's ridiculous. Bigfoot hunter. My wife even made it worse by buying him a sweatshirt from the TV show that says "Gone Squatchin'." That's what they call it, "Gone Squatchin'," Sasquatch. Crazy. I'm sure some of you out there have probably seen that show before. And I think the only really strange thing about it is every episode shows the Bigfoot is the one guy Bobo that hunts for him. But yeah, my son's going to be a Bigfoot hunter when he grows up. I don't know what happened to being a fireman or a policeman or a doctor or lawyer. Well, not lawyer. I'd rather him hunt Bigfoots than become a lawyer. But so anyway, I thought that was really funny when he announced that. I know what I'm going to be when I grow up, and I was waiting for something. When I was his age, I don't know what it was going to be, but it definitely wasn't going to be Bigfoot hunter. I didn't know that job even existed, but it does apparently. All right, that's it for this episode of the Todd Cook Show. Next week, you want to come around because I might bring my dog into the studio with me. Believe it or not, my dog has a lot of opinions about different things, and so I'm going to bring him into the studio if I get a chance and if he's willing to do it, and it should be interesting. So you don't want to miss that. He's a big old floppy-eared basset hound. But like I said, he doesn't look like he has a lot of energy, but you stick a microphone in his face and he can talk for hours. So tune in next week, and that will be up online. Once again, you can look me up on Facebook, The Todd Cook Show. Email me at thetoddcookshow@gmail.com, and that'll be it for the day. Listen to the next show. I'll be talking and you'll be listening. And now I'm going to go inside and warm up because it's cold out here. Bye.